Ciao everyone and welcome back to Green Wings Migration YouTube channel. I'm Eleonora, registered migration agent in Perth and director of the agency. Before deep diving into today's video, I just would like to remind you one small thing. Since we started the channel, we've been openly receiving questions and comments from anyone who's following and just watching us. But lately, those questions have become more and more. And we always want to give an answer to everyone whenever it's possible, but we would like you to understand that precedence will be given to the people who actually follow us and click the subscribe button on the channel. So if you haven't done it yet and you enjoy watching our videos, just a small favor I ask you is to actually subscribe so you never miss any update, and you will also receive priority when it comes to your questions being answered. And without further ado, let's go into today's video. Today, I want to talk about Skill Visa 189 or the Skill Independent Visa. If you've been watching our other videos, you know that there are primarily two work visa options. On one hand, we have the sponsorship opportunities, and on the other hand, we have the skill visas opportunities. And within the skill visa sphere, we recognize three different subclasses: 491, 190, and 189. We have talked extensively about 190 and 491 in other videos. I'm going to put those links here just in case you want to jump and watch those other videos as well. And today we feel like the need to discuss 189. 189 is what I like to call the golden ticket, like the golden chocolate bar that Willy Wonka wanted, right? Why? Because if you get that visa approved, you become permanent resident right away, and you're also subject to no obligations whatsoever. So again, if you've been looking at the other videos, you might have seen that 190 comes with this condition that you need to stay in the state who sponsor you for 2 years. 491 is actually 3 years in a regional area of the state who sponsor you. 189 does not attract any of that. So if you are invited with a 189 visa, you can come to Australia, live in any state, and do any occupation that you like, that you prefer. Plus, obviously, while you do it, you enjoy all the benefits of being a permanent resident in Australia, which includes Medicare cover, possibility to study at reduced prices, possibility for your children to go to school and pay almost no fee, etc., etc. But why? If this is such a good opportunity, why is this so hard to get? Well, that's the exact reason. It's such a good opportunity that not many visas are issued on a yearly basis for Visa 189. And to go through the process and to actually receive an invitation to apply for this visa, it's a very selective process, which starts from a smaller amount of occupations that could be used for that visas particularly. But let's do a step back and let's just rediscuss how the process works entirely. So Australia obviously needs skilled workers. All occupations are organized in skills list, and there is one particular skill list, which is the list for Visa 189. It's the medium and long-term skill list. They didn't change the name of this one yet. It has approximately, if I'm not mistaken, 200 and something occupations, so they are not so many. And they range in a variety of industries, from doctors to lawyers to tradies to teachers. So there is a little bit of everything in there. If your occupation is on that list and if you meet certain criteria, then it means that you could lodge an expression of interest. An expression of interest is basically your way to tell the department, the government, that you are interested in migrating to Australia and you are interested to be considered for a skill visa independent 189. Once you lodge your expression of interest, this is inserted in a pool with other candidates who express their interest in this migration process. And fairly regularly, the federal government looks into the pool of candidates and decides whether they want to invite someone or not. So even if you might be the perfect candidate on paper, and now we see what that could mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are surely going to receive an invitation to proceed with this visa application. And this is the first obstacle. So It's certainly an opportunity for people who are overseas, who don't have any connection with employers in Australia. But for those people who are already in the country, although it's a very good dream to think about visa 189. But if you're already here, I'm a strong supporter of sponsorships over skill visas all the way. Okay, it's easier, it's more direct. You don't go through any deep selection process. It's just a business wanting you for your skills. You've been ready to work for this business. Perfect match. Apply for the visa. Just be patient and wait for it to be approved. But anyway, if you are overseas, as I said, it's harder because it's not as easy to receive a job offer, which also has to come with a visa opportunity if you've never set foot into the country. So the 189 remains an opportunity. What does it mean to become, to be selectable for this visa? Well, the expression of interest actually ranks you with a points-based system. And you get points for your age, knowledge of the English language, qualifications you've achieved, years of experience you've accumulated. Even if your partner is migrating with you, they might contribute to your points test. Depending on the answers that you give to the points test, you receive points, and this amount, the total points that you score, can determine how easily you could be invited. Bear in mind that the minimum to participate to the points system is 65 points. And I think the maximum can go up to 110, 115, something like that. But it's very hard to score that high amount of points. So the majority of people range between the 75 and 85. That's where the most candidates reach the points level. So you lodge your expression of interest. Obviously, you lodge it declaring that you are a skilled worker in a certain occupation, meaning you must have obtained a skills assessment first from the relevant authority. And once your expression of interest is in the system, you just have to patiently wait. This wait can be extremely long, up to 2 years. And as I said at the beginning, it doesn't necessarily mean that simply lodging the expression of interest, you will get the visa. You need to be selected. So it might as well be the case that you keep waiting and waiting and waiting for up to 2 years, nothing happens, and one day you just receive an email from the government saying, hey, I'm sorry, but your expression of interest has expired. You can renew it, obviously, it's not a once in a lifetime opportunity, but maybe your circumstances have changed in the meantime, sometimes for the better, I hope for you, sometimes for the worse, or simply life is different. So even if the idea of lodging a new expression of interest, going through the waiting period again, is not as appealing any longer. Fair enough, 2 years is a long amount of time, and in this time anything can happen. You might have children, you might have relocated somewhere else, you might have gotten the job of your dream. So obviously remain waiting for something to happen without having certainty, I can guarantee you that is not the best feeling ever. In saying so, I don't want to scare you off. Keep living your life, take all the opportunities thrown at you. And if you have an expression of interest in the system, you know that one day it might happen, but it might also not. So don't preclude yourself from other things in your life just because you have lodged an expression of interest. In terms of invitation frequency, this is another big question mark. So it used to be the case that on a monthly basis, the invitation rounds were occurring. That's no longer the case. The most recent invitation round for Visa 189 actually took place last November 2024, and they invited all the expression of interest, some of them be dated November 2023. So you would understand how many people, have been left with no hope, essentially, because almost 6 months from when the program reopened in July 2024 had passed in order to an invitation to occur. And when it did occur, they actually consider very old expression of interest, not necessarily all expression of interest. Do we know when the next invitation round is going to happen? Unfortunately not. So this is something that the department has not been sharing. There are always many, consideration and talks about possibilities, but nothing real, nothing concrete has been shared yet. So I don't know, is this a good option? I mean, as I said, I'm not a strong supporter of skill visas when people have the alternative, the possibility to go through sponsorship. Is this an option that exists and could give you an opportunity? Yes. So if you are overseas, if you are a skilled worker, if you have identified an occupation on the medium and long-term skill list that actually matches your profile, and you would like to understand if you might have an option for a skill visa subclass 189, feel free to get in touch with us. We could go through a consultation. We could actually give you our very honest opinion about your chances of success. Bear in mind that expression of interest do not cost anything in terms of government charges. Obviously, if you end up using an agency, they will charge you the professional fees. But in this aim of trying to get an invitation, you don't really commit to any expense if you're going to self-manage your expression of interest. If you're going to self-manage your expression of interest, though, I have a big advice for you. Make sure that you do seek advice from someone before lodging the expression of interest in order to double check with them what is the realistic amount of points that you could be able to claim. We see very frequently people either overclaiming or underclaiming in their expression of interest, and it can be damaging at the same time, because if you underclaim, you might miss out on the opportunity to be invited. If you overclaim, you might be invited, but your visa could be denied, because what happens is when the case officer opens your files and goes through the assessment process, if they see that the points you stated at the beginning are not actually the points that you can realistically claim with rock solid evidence you provided to them, the visa will be refused. And since you have lodged it from overseas, you're not even going to have review rights. So there is no pathway for you through the tribunal, through an appeal. So it's fundamental to make sure that the points are claimed correctly from the get-go. Kind of almost forget about them while you wait the 2 years to pass and while you wait to receive an invitation, and obviously celebrate if that invitation does come through. This is all for today. If you have any questions, if you have lodged an expression of interest, if you're thinking to lodge an expression of interest, feel free to drop your question in the comment section below. As I said, we're going to get back to everyone, but understand priority is going to be given to subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber yet, just click the button. It takes really 2 seconds, doesn't cost you anything, and it makes us very happy. Thank you so much. Talk soon.